Hi everyone, this is Mark and welcome back. Some time ago, we bought an abandoned piece of land and we're turning it to our home. First, we're building our house, but that's just the beginning. Can't wait to have some chickens running around and starting digging our pond. So far, this is where we are right now. The foundation is solid and the walls are standing. In the last episode, we finished laying the U-blocks on the top of the wall, and today we continue our journey. Consider subscribing to stay tuned for the newest updates. In today's episode, we move forward with the ring beam, but before that, we need to go back a few months in time when there were no signs of any walls. Before all the bricks arrived, I had some time, so I prepared the rebar cages. I have to manage my time very well because I'm working full-time, having 2 kids, and many other responsibilities I need to find time for. Top of that, I have to build this house with my own hands. Even if we go a little bit more back in time, I've prepared 160 stirrups, which is pretty much a 6mm rebar banded in a rectangular shape. The size was 12 by 16 centimeters, so it would fit perfectly in the U-blocks. Enough space on the sides to cover with concrete. I had to prepare a total of 6 cages. Each of them was 6 meters long. Took me a couple of days for sure, but I love to do this. Nice weather, loads of podcasts, and blasting music loud. Absolutely loved it. I had a question earlier whether these rebars could stay outside without rust becoming a problem. And the answer was yes. They can be stored outside and the bit of surface rust isn't an issue at all. In fact, light rust can even improve the bond between the concrete and the steel. The cages were not very heavy, so I managed to move them on my own. I placed them towards the back of the land to keep them out of sight from the street. Nothing was ever stolen from my land, but since I knew they'd be sitting there for a while, I preferred to be cautious. I have bended up to 10mm before, but this time it was 12mm, and eventually the manual bender was too weak at the beginning, or maybe it was just me. I had to come up with a solution because I didn't want to buy or rent a mechanical bender. Physics answered for my prayers, and once I turned the pallet on the side and extended the arm of the bender, it worked out. Wasn't the nicest or most professional approach, I guess, but hey, worked. I was very happy to skip the rental. Alright, let's get back to the present. First thing first, we moved all the cages inside the house and started measuring. Some of the pieces were a bit longer, so we had to trim the ends. Then we carefully lifted them into the holes. My dad kept saying good that they came to help me, because all alone I would never lift and place these cages inside the U-blocks. Well, this was the moment when I said, challenge accepted, and I have tried to do it alone. Luckily, I have managed to do it, and it was much easier than I thought it would be. But eventually, I could look at him and just smile. Absolutely worth it. Once I proved my point, we switched back to teamwork and slowly but steady all the pieces went into their space. It was time to insert the corner pieces. At one of the corners, the pieces wouldn't fit properly because a couple of stirrups were in the way. I had to cut them off to make enough space, and after that I could easily insert the corner pieces and just tie everything together. On the other side, I needed to do a bit of additional trimming, and then I tied those pieces together as well. Once all the corners were finished, we finally had a solid rebar cage. Even though it looked like the job was done, it definitely wasn't. We still had to add additional rebars in a few key spots. You might remember from the previous episode the pillar next to the main door. It's made of saw bed bricks and it's not load bearing at all. On its own it wouldn't hold, so we needed to reinforce the area above it. So to prevent the pillar from taking too much tension and to keep the structure solid, we added 4 extra rebars above this section. 2 tied to the bottom and 2 tied to the top. Installing them was very tricky because of the lack of space, and it's very easy to pinch your fingers if you are not careful. Another critical point was above the patio door. There is a 2 meters 20 centimeters gap between the walls, so we added a couple of rebars running out from one side of the wall to the other. It turned out to be a very productive day, not only because we got loads of work done, but also because I learned so much about how the structure works and how load-bearing elements actually function. It felt like getting a mini engineering class from my dad. I'd love to say that was all the additional rebars we needed, but that wasn't the whole story. After topping up the generator, we still had a bit of daylight left, so I started cutting the rebars for the next step. And if you'd like to see what happens next and don't want to miss the upcoming episode, make sure to subscribe. Here is a little teaser of what's coming next. And I'm pretty sure you can already guess where those rebars will go. We've also created a Patreon page for anyone who'd like to support us. If you enjoy the series and want to be part of our little building adventure, feel free to check it out. The link is in the description. Over there we will share some side projects, behind the scene moments and useful tips and tricks about the building a house, buying a land, or even handling things like building an outdoor toilet. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Mark is out. Peace.